So now I'd like to invite the three panelists to come up, and we have about 10 minutes for question and answer. So if you just raise your hand, we have a mic, and we can, you're welcome to come up. Oh, York.
Basically a question to the three of you.
For the people on Zoom.
Sure. Sorry. A question to the three of you. From the perception that I gained through your three presentations, I was almost permanently thinking this has nothing to do with medicine per se. This can be fully generalized. Would you agree, or could you comment on that?
Yeah, I think my primary appointment is in a school of public health, and I often take a public health approach to this of how can we shift the distribution of well-being in entire populations, and how can we meet populations just where they're at. And so say I do quite a bit of work with local indigenous tribal nations, particularly the Narragansett tribal nation. And so we're co-creating the mindfulness-based blood pressure reduction program with them actually every week right now. And so that they're bringing in their language, their teaching stories, their particular mindful movements like the Eastern blanket dance, their traditional pre-colonial foods. And so I think it has the capacity to meet people in medicine, it has the capacity to meet people in public health, it has the capacity to meet people, especially if we have a deep understanding, like Taya talked about how understanding is the foundation of love. And so can we deeply understand whatever population that we're working with and be able to meet them where they're at, particularly with members of them involved in the whole team, to be able to help them move in directions that they would like to go. So that's some of my perspective on it.
Thank you for the question. And yes, I think in agreement, which is how is this generalizable? How is this transferable into each of our disciplines, our contexts, our communities? I shared a study that is with physicians that I did out of the Faculty of Medicine. And at the University of Toronto, I've been collaborating with so many different faculties. So you heard I have appointments in 3 places because we haven't quite figured out like one place. So I've been cobbling together what does it mean to study this also as a young researcher. There isn't yet a faculty of mindfulness or applied mindfulness. So I'm in the School of Public Health, Faculty of Medicine, and the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, and I've been collaborating with the Faculty of Law, School of the Environment, Indigenous Studies, and so all of these spaces asking this question, right, this very human question. And even we've been saying, we just had a conference on mental and planetary health, that these aren't separate. So just a real deep looking at non-separation, and to really, I hope to equip everyone in this room and who's listening with like, how does this come into my space? We need every single one of us. Ty would say, we're one cell in a Sangha body, the Sangha being our community. So if our community is like all humans and living beings on the planet Earth, including Earth as a living being, which John was talking a bit about yesterday. So my answer to your question is yes. And it really inviting everyone here to think about how we contribute to that work.
Hello, so I'm a first-year doctoral student here at Dartmouth. So my question is, I feel like me and my peers are very easily experiencing imposter syndrome, especially in academia. Sometimes we just feel we're not enough, not good enough, and for example, sometimes I stay overnight to work more because I feel that way. So I was curious I don't know if in any stage of your life you've experienced this, but I was curious how to integrate like mindfulness as a tool in the day-to-day life, or as a practice in the day-to-day life to overcome imposter syndrome.
So that sounds like dukkha, right? What are you holding on to, right? So wanting to be perfect, wanting to fulfill people's, there's a lot of wanting there, it sounds like. So can we pause and just feel that really deeply, like everything you're attached to, right? Because really there's no moment of the day where you can't, like if you're not experiencing supreme ultimate bliss, you're probably in dukkha. So it's like, okay, what are you holding on to? And lots of times there's more than one answer, right? And it can take a while, like, and maybe it's not clear at first, but if you just keep sitting with it. And mindfulness of the body, I mean, I kind of glossed over mindfulness of the body, but oftentimes I feel like body language for me is really important. Like sometimes, like I'll be, I'll replay something, right? That person said something and then I did this, and I can feel myself like, oh, this is how I responded. And oftentimes then I feel myself, it's like, oh, and that sort of gives you the insight as to what you're holding on to sometimes. So, yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes think about Ty encouraging us not to try to be like him. He's like, there's already a Ty, and to encourage us to just be ourselves. So I sometimes think of imposter syndrome as trying to sometimes be like someone else, when what the world most calls for is you, or us as an individual. And with things moving so fast, I think there's great wisdom in seeing what our wisdom shares is called for right now and responding skillfully to it. Thomas Cooney wrote a book called The Structure of Scientific Revolutions, where with every major revolution in science, it's initially met with extreme skepticism. So when I first got into the mindfulness field, my department chair was like, what are you doing? You had a very good research trajectory, and now you're doing that. And I'd read that book, luckily, so I was like, yep, there's the skepticism. And then after a while, it starts to become a very hot topic. And mindfulness has been a very hot topic. And then towards the end, everyone was like, of course it's that way. And that's the structure of scientific revolution. So when we're considering and feeling imposter syndrome, or feeling like we have this wisdom inside that needs to come out, it may just be innovation and wisdom that's not yet recognized in society yet, and to really trust that, knowing that it might take some decades for it to be known more broadly. But as a researcher, we're paid to be innovative, and so to trust that.
I just wanted to thank you for the question. I think a deep part of our practice is to call things by their true names, awareness of what's happening inside and around us. And so I hear this question in many spaces and also in myself. So my answer to your question, have I experienced this? And I could feel us both vibing. We were like, yes. And so it makes me ask a question. Why? Why are our academic spaces not making us feel like we're enough and not making us feel like we belong? It's a question I asked as an undergrad, graduate student, now as a professor. And as a researcher, I know a good research question is enough. We still have to figure out the study design. We've got to do the study. We've got to make findings and future recommendations. So to say, we can't answer the question yesterday. And thank you for the question, and let's all ask it in this space, right? Let's all go forward and think about what can each of us contribute to that in ourselves and in our academic spaces, because we need all those voices. And I would also say we're a practical tradition. I love the precision of applied mindfulness. Ty doesn't want us to theorize and talk about it. He wants us to do the thing. And so we sometimes say there's the written, the spoken, and the living dharma. And the written and spoken is super important. You just heard, I like publishing things and theorizing about them. And in our Zen lineage, we would say, we really haven't done it. I hesitate to say this in such dualistic terms, but I'm going to say, Ty would say, we haven't done the thing. I don't want to use the word failed because that's gentle. I want to be more gentle, but just if we aren't living it, if we aren't bringing it into our walking, our breathing, we can't just sit here and talk about it. It's what are you doing in daily life? So let's figure that out together.
Thank you all for your questions. We're at the time. But I just, again, want to thank the speakers this morning. You gave very heartfelt and beautiful talks. And I have to say, for scientists to say, come experience something, don't prepare ahead of time, adjust, is it's a challenge. And they did so beautifully. So thank you. I also want to give flowers to the audience. I think that I can tell you're just listening and taking everything in so much. So thank you to you also.